morning, good afternoon, and good evening, Free Enterprise fans, and welcome to the very first running of the Pink Puff League. This league is specifically for newer and less experienced runners of Free Enterprise as a whole. So you're going to see a lot of new names and faces here. And it's going to be really fun. So I'm Oscar424, and with me is the very intelligent, super smart PK4787. PK, how you doing?
I'm great. I'm happy to be here. You can't spell pink without PK.
Oh boy,
So
here we go.
how is that for an intelligent statement to open it up and just offer some proof? I do love these flags. I am very excited. I was kind of hoping we would even have like 4 runners running because there's so much mayhem in these seeds when it comes to the supermarket sweep flags that you've chosen. But we have 20 runners. We have 2 featured here, HeartGamer26 and Neobari. And maybe you want to talk us through, what the flags are, why you chose the flags, and sort of why we're all gathered here today.
So pretty much with the Pink Puff League, it's supposed to be a learning experience for these newer runners, and we wanted to start them off with something that they could enjoy, have fun, and, well, kind of practice some basic skills. And, well, there's one particular seed called Supermarket Sweep that they can do a lot of fun things, yet still be challenged at the same time. So that's what we're starting them with. And every single week, the flags are going to get a little bit different, and they're going to get harder each and every week till eventually, at the end of the season, we'll have these puffs running, well, potentially tournament flags and see how they do. But with Supermarket Sweep, it's 3 objectives. They're all required. The shops are wild and free, and it's just the spoons on free characters, free key items. They get to literally go puff wild, and it could be a very quick go mode. It could be they have to clear everything. So you never really know with Supermarket Sweep.
Yeah, we have defeat Antlion, get Tella, and unlock the pass door in Troya. And my pink puff eyes are definitely locked onto that defeat Antlion objective. The rest are key items we're running on K main, which means that only the original game objective locations can give a key item. So there's only one place it's going to bonk you. So you might consider doing Antlion Cave early in this one.
And the thing is that our runners will have to remember spots that they'll see other people go to for checks in races, such as the Odin spot, so Baron Throne Room, or Baron, the essentially basement throne, Fey March, anything on the moon. Those aren't going to give key items, so that could actually cost them some time. Now, Antlion, one of PK's favorite bosses, can happen to show up anywhere, so maybe they do have to go to the moon. We don't quite know yet.
Yeah, this seed was rolled about 10 minutes ago by Alicel, our wonderful restreamer. Antlion has been tunneling around on one of the 2 planets for the last 10 minutes and change depending on when we locate the boss. So this is one of those, the Get Tella, there are free characters. As you can see, there's a free key item. That's the package. I think we'll probably locate that Tella pretty early. The pass is not included in the key item pool, which might be a flag not certain people aren't familiar with.
Exactly. In this particular flag set, the pass can be purchased. Well, it's going to be purchased for 0 GP, but they're going to have to look in item shops to find that pass. In reference to the package, which was the free item from Bedward today, the package and the Twin Harp are 2 of the most awkward checks in Supermarket Sweep because they are very long checks to do. Now, the problem is Antlion can be behind package or be in Twin Harp. We don't know that. So that might be a Galaxy Brain check someone made.
Yep, and Fried Dough Potato pointing out that Neobari has found arguably the best possible thing you can locate. I mean, it is the best armor in the game. Adamants have been discovered. 99 seems a little superfluous for a piece of armor, but just feels good looking at it in your inventory.
Also, Neobari is just finding all the good stuff. The irony of finding the pass where you turn in the pass is not lost on me. Heart Gamer, on the other hand, has found both Sirens, so we do have a grind, and she's found effectively the, well, best character in Supermarket Sweep, which is Edge. Edge can dart really strong items like, oh, I don't know, Excals. So he's arguably probably the best. Melee characters in Supermarket Sweep in general tend to be the best characters for Supermarket Sweep. The Avenger swords that she just found are another fantastic dart for Edge to just start chucking at everybody.
Yeah, so we have adamant armor. I saw some defense swords get purchased. And yeah, so, you know, when you have an adamant armor, you have probably everyone's best weapon in the game. You really probably don't want to take all the experience required to get up to Nuke or White, when really, I mean, a 1500 hit point character with an adamant armor is probably going to survive even an unnerfed Big Bang.
Agreed. And the Masamunes found by Niabari will be very fantastic once he finds that Edge that's not too far from where he is. But the other thing with Supermarket Sweep in general is because it could be such a blazing fast seed, it's all about those little optimizations. And in addition to just not wanting to grind all the way up to like the nukes and the whites for our mages, but having to sit through level ups and seeing all of the mages get the individual spells takes up time. Niabari has taken up some time in a fantastic check in the form of the Kaipo bed, which is where, well, our old man Tella just happens to be sleeping. So Niabari now knows if he wants to get a Tella there, he has to check and find. He has to find the Sand Ruby to get that old fun little character.
And one thing I do love, I think both of our runners are doing this. I don't know if this would have crossed my mind, but they've both now actually completed Objective 3 because that pass happened to be for sale right next door to where the pass store is. They do not technically have to come back before running into Zeromus. So if you did happen to run into Antlion, you know, at that Ogopogo spot, it is technically faster at that point to just run right to Zeromus in the swag walk. So we've actually, that is a slight little optimization, whereas I would probably just take that pass and just run back and not even consider to get that done.
I completely agree. And what Niabari is doing right now is he's actually checking some of the more cheeky checks for that potentially Antlion, like in the waterfall. Miss Cave's another one. Again, like the package the Twin Heart mentioned. These are all areas that you might forget to check and find out later that that was a bad decision. That being said, Niabari has found either 25% leg with the elements or full leg with Ruby. We're not sure which one. Actually, I think it is Ruby, now that I think about it. But so Niabari's like, nah, I'm good. We're fine.
I mean, this is maybe a little too early to speculate, but I think somehow Antlion managed to dig through the Iron Giant and is sitting all the way back where the CPU is, just eating cords like so many of the community members' cats.
Right?
So maybe that's why the giant step's so weird when it comes out.
Well, you do your little giant dance, so it counts. But actually, Hart decided to put full moons on Edge. Why is full moon a pretty nice thing for Edge to equip, at least for a little bit?
Well, it's twice as good as a half moon, first off. Secondly, I believe what we're seeing Hart do is that's to get spells on Fusoya, just to add that in abruptly. But the full moon allows you to back row Edge, which is very convenient. It drastically decreases the amount of damage you take from physical attacks. And the full moon is essentially equivalent to the longsword. We did see Masamune somewhere, but as far as early game Edge is concerned, that's going to be a lot of damage to put out regardless.
Agreed. And we did see Hart check the package character, and it's Iridia. She did back out of it, so we don't know if that Antlion is there. It might be a check that she's holding off on and not worrying about just yet. I'm one of those evil people that will check a package if I know I'm in a bad matchup. But on Niabari's side, we are finding out that everyone's favorite noodly armed soldier is in Antlion Cave. So no vanilla Antlion.
No, the hunt continues, and big shout out to Usually Clueless, 20 gift subs to the free enterprise community. So please do thank Usually Clueless if you happen to have been the recipient of one of those, and thank you so much for your support.
Absolute shout out to Clueless for being an absolutely fantastic, awesome person. Also, another newer member of the community, doing some really cool things with trackers and whatnot. So, massive shout outs. Now, Nibari has found the adamant rock at Antlion Cave. That is not adamant armor. That is the rock used for, well, forging in the underground. So you can't really equip it, but sometimes it gives some good stuff in the end.
Yeah, it's a key item. It's we don't have Forge on in this, so it is one of those few key items along with the Legend Sword that is not high up on your list of things to see, but it is certainly worth walking out. It counts 1 towards the 10 that you need for a potential grind, but not required to Antlion. Who would have thought? Why would anyone go there? He's already dug through. He's somewhere else.
Meanwhile, PK is wiping the sweat off his brow, thanking thanking the fact that Antlion is not there. Speaking of funny things on a hill, we have found our ha in the form of Golbez, having a conversation with a child. So they can continue that conversation, and we're perfectly fine with that.
Yeah, that would be a big no for me as well.
Going into those small little optimizations for Supermarket Sweep, that's unless it's a required Golbez or a required character or a required boss spot or something. That's not really a fight you want to devote a lot of time to, just because it takes a while.
And I was really hoping that we didn't find those adamants and some of this really powerful stuff early, because just like the original Supermarket Sweep, my favorite part about these seeds and watching people run them is there's so many good things to buy, but you can only fit so many things in your cart before you have to start making a decision about what you want to keep. And things like 3 stacks of Artemis arrows are awesome, but you need to keep a little space for certain things. But I don't know if we're gonna run into that, because once I've seen adamant and a couple other things, I might be comfortable.
And that's something that with Supermarket Sweep, inventory boss is a massive thing because you can literally buy everything. On the flip side, it's also learning, yes, you want the best stuff, but in certain situations, good enough is fine too. If you haven't found those adamants or ribbons or cursed rings, crystal rings, ninja hats, what have you, it's knowing when to pick up something that is fine. It works. We'll run with it.
Yeah, my biggest thing with these is I want to buy all of the different J items, and so I'll end up with 99 Zeus Rage and Boreas and Gaia drums, and then all of a sudden your team is so powerful that they're just taking up space and you have absolutely no use for them whatsoever.
Now, what's interesting, unfortunately, you don't get to see it in this particular spot, which probably makes Nibar very happy right now. Kanatsu is one of those interesting bosses that doesn't really care that you have adamant armor, because it has a spell or an ability, Wave, that will do % max health damage to you, whether you have adamant armor or not. So it completely ignores that armor, and could be a little squirrely if you're not fully paying attention.
Yep, and anyone else new out there, both runners are doing a really good job of having essentially their fastest character in the center slot for all these overworld spots. So we see Heart Gamer with that edge in the center slot. Miobari has the Fusoya in the center slot. And you might have been thinking to yourself during that Keinatsu fight, why didn't Keinatsu take any turns? And it's because everyone is very slow in those spots. And, as much as we harp on wanting a curse ring and wanting a slow anchor and everything else, these are the moments where those fast characters shine in the center.
And from that Keinatsu fight, we did see Nibari get his underground access with the Magma Key. On Heart's side, you're seeing why taking on Golbez takes up a lot of time. Whether you like it or not, whether you're power overwhelming or not, Golbez will still summon Shadow and will still kill your party down to 2 members. Now, if you say had an Edward that was hiding or a Kane that you could just time amazing jumps to, cool, it doesn't count it. Unfortunately, now Hart gets to see the, Shadow keep nomming on people. Unless...
Oh, and the glory of this is the adamant armors don't... You can't be held and you can't get insta-death, but unfortunately, someone like Kane, who's currently rocking an Avenger sword, is still going to take swings, even though Golbez and Golbez's person-eating friend, whose name I can't remember, cannot be damaged during that period of time. So it's good knowledge to know that, that fight is a lot more free. Everything's more free when you have adamant armors, but it's that one in particular, you don't even have to worry about having most of your team get dropped. And I do like this play from Heart Gamer. Fusoya still gains spells as you defeat bosses. Agreed. So if you can get something like Nuke before you go to Ordeals, granted, you have some darts right now, but that's really the idea, is just get Fusoya going. Fusoya can be your white mage, your black mage, your everything.
Cleaning mage. Fu is a very interesting topic in Supermarket Sweep because of the whole, you don't have to sit through quite as many spell notifications, but at the same time it is a mage, and those seconds will matter. But at the same time, he is a one-stop shop for insert spell here. So if you find him early, it helps. I prefer, if I see a Fu, I prefer finding him late, because then I don't have to sit through all those notifications. He just comes pre-equipped with everything ready to go.
That is fair. And if we do stumble upon a cursed ring, the other advantage of Fusoya is he has a static agility. So as we move towards the Zeromus fight, he might end up being the only mage of any repute in the party, because it looks like we have enough going right now for some Zerkers.
Agreed. And the agility in and of itself is an interesting thing to think about, that at some point our puffs are going to have to stop and go, am I going to try to anchor, or am I just going to power overwhelming? Agility, even for more experienced runners, is black magic. It's witchcraft. And it completely changes as Z fights. Even with adamant armor, Z can still knock out a party. I've experienced this firsthand with a party of 4 edges and a Fu in Supermarket Sweep. Z can still win if you're not properly anchored. So yes, they've got a lot of power overwhelming, but at some point they're going to have to think about what they want to do for that final party for Z.
Yeah, in the back of, I think, every runner's mind, for the most part, you are always trying to pick out, what your Zeromus fight is going to end up looking like. And someone like Fusoya is really nice to have. Another thing in these seeds, at least I'm relatively certain, is the buy flag is not turned on. So you can just go grab a base level character, assuming you have one, right before running into the Zeromus fight.
Correct. They have every single character available for them in that fun little tower.
Witchburn? I hope this is Witchburn.
Well,
I'm Neobari right now. I'm like, I hope this is Witchburn, but I'm still going to throw up.
It is Wyvern. It is Wyvern. What, you want to see a Meteo chuck in Wyvern? I don't.
Actually, Witchburn I prefer over Wyvern. In this spot with the super fast anchors, you saw all 5 characters got turns there. As we run into what is turning out to be a less than difficult ordeals, granted with darts and everything else, I don't see there being too much of a dilemma for any boss at this spot, or these 2 spots.
Yeah, seeing that blue robe in that particular spot could have been either Water Hag, which is 3 hits and done, like we're seeing on Nibari's screen and soon to be Hearts, or it could have been the Alt Gauntlet. Now, there's an interesting little feature that you don't notice until you notice it, if that makes sense. You can actually, in spots with just a single robe spot, you can sometimes tell if it's going to be the gauntlet or water hag just before you see it. The game has to load the alt gauntlet, or in this case, it's the standard gauntlet. So there's a bit of a delay that, again, it's hard to explain, but you don't notice it until you see it the first time and you go, oh yeah, there it is. Oh yeah, this is going to be gauntlet. Yep, it's gauntlet. Okay, cool.
I've heard tell of this, but I feel like this is like the green flash in a sunset.
I've seen it at Back Attack. I have seen it at the spot water hag was at. And I didn't notice it until I saw it for the first time, and I said, oh. Now, unfortunately, we have found our one singular zonk in the game. There's, with only K main, there is one spot that has no key item, and in this case, you have to fight Ogo for a crystal ring on Mount Ordeals.
Well, it is a very pretty ring, but I guess the real reward was the spells on Fu and potentially getting your Cecil out of Dark Paladin, and in the friends you made along the way.
No friends, only sweep, only puff. But that's actually a point we've seen. Okay, we've seen Avenger swords. I haven't seen any crystal swords, light swords, excals. I don't think we've seen defense swords anywhere. So I mean, ironically, Cecil, aside from an Avenger, doesn't really have much else if we find one right now.
Well, I believe we saw defense swords. Avenger,
Okay.
is not the ideal thing for Cecil, but adamant armor Cecil, is maybe a strategy not a lot of people who are a little newer to the game that immediately comes to mind, but just defending with Cecil, just Cecil in the back row with an adamant armor at base level can probably take a hit from almost any boss in the game at any location and still survive.
That is a very valid point there. Looks like Nibari is going to be doing some shopping in Agart, which means they'll probably be dropping that key down the well very shortly. So we get to see the second half of the world checks.
Yep, and we're definitely Avengers, or not Avengers, excuse me. Excals are the best darting item, so we'll be picking up 99 of those. I would assume we'll see our runners take. Oh, Neobari. Oh, the little girl.
The true boss. The true bosses.
Excals are a great dart, so I assume you pick those up. But the crystal sword really is, that's the shopping. That's the shopping gold right there, assuming you can find a Cecil.
And just like knowing what to pick up, when to pick up stuff that's great, not perfect, but it's also when to stop. Because again, it's all about those little optimizations with this particular flag set. At what point do you go, I'm good? There might be better stuff out there, but I'm good.
Never. Absolutely never. I check every single shop every time in these, no matter what, because it's so entertaining.
But PK, that requires you to go to Baron.
No, not into Baron, just the shop.
Oh,
I don't
okay.
count that. You can still fade Baron and check out the shop.
Fair.
I will say, one of the things I'm noticing is when you're purchasing equipment, that is one thing I do differently, or I attempt to do differently when I'm thinking with my brain is, you're never going to need more than 5 of something. And this is where you start potentially running into the inventory bosses. You're probably powerful enough now where you're not going to use those Zeus Rages. You have 99 hourglasses. You're buying 99 of items. And then when you start buying 99 of every single equipable item as well, is when you start to really fill up a lot of those slots. And then you have to start making decisions as to what you want to keep and what you want to get rid of.
Agreed. It's all about, there's so much more that goes on under the hood of Supermarket Sweep that you don't realize until you actually start thinking about it and going, oh yeah, I have to think about that. I have to think about that. Neobari here is doing a wonderful smart check of Fey March, although it doesn't give key items. Antlion could have been there, and Antlion was not there. So those bosses can, I think Dark Elf and Mom Bomb can sit there, be happy, and we never have to deal with that again. However, what Neobari has not done is checked the Feymarch freebie key item. So let's hope that Neobari remembers that treasure, that chest still needs to be opened.
I have definitely never accidentally faded that and had it be a required twin harp while on restream. It's oddly specific, but that never happened.
And that was a very good check Neobari made. I saw that pause for a quick second there, but we have, we have found lunar access on the right and an annoyingly long fight on the left with the gauntlet. Now, it's not the alt gauntlet. It is the gauntlet. What's the difference between the regular gauntlet and the alt gauntlet, PK?
With the word alt?
Thanks, Tips.
The regular gauntlet, it takes, I believe it's 6 fights. And they are the static fights that you would run into in the vanilla game. They just split up the HP total for that spot amongst themselves. The alt gauntlet just draws 5 quote-unquote random encounters, or 5 encounters from the area using the encounter table. So the alt gauntlet in certain places is going to be easier and faster. In other places, it's actually going to have a lot more potential hit points and a lot ruder bosses, because as you can see, there is not very much to fighting these ones here.
And a couple points to note, there were actually crystal rings available in Tomra. Neobari didn't pick any up, but those are really, really nice items just to build up the agility of your team. And to answer a question chat from Alchemy, basically what we're going to be doing with the Pink Puff League is we start off with Supermarket Sweep, and every subsequent meeting of the Pink Puff League, the flags are going to change and the flags are going to get a little harder. I also have a couple fun little plans to incorporate people that are considered sages in the free enterprise community, like PK. PK is one of them. That know a heck and lot about the game. I mean, heck. So they are going to be changing.
We also see glass hats and tiaras there. If there are 2 things that are slightly broken in this game or incredibly undervalued, I would put glass hat second, a distant second to how good a tiara can be. Now, there are no characters in Neobari's party who can equip a tiara, but for anyone listening, if you've passed on those tiaras, it's like a ninja shirt. You think, okay, this is some good money, but a tiara is plus 10 to the black magic stat, and its defense is just absolutely insane.
Yeah, you want to talk about good money. Heart Gamer has found a second edge, and dupes are on. So
oh, there's our hero too.
There's the true hero of this seed. Eddie's an interesting character in this flag set. Spoon Flag is on, and Eddie is very fast. So with an adamant armor on, okay, Heart Gamer. Okay, we're gonna have words about that one. But if you're able to find the spoon, adamant armor spoonward is terrifying.
And Neo, with all of that power, unfortunately, did not locate Antlion in that first check there in the vanilla doll spot, but also ran into that with 1 HP on everyone. And with adamant armors and everything else, typically you might not have any issue, but that happened to be Leviathan, who has another one of those spells that doesn't really care what you're wearing. And that's Ice 2.
Now, PK, why did Neobari's party all have 1 HP? Like, what happened?
I would assume that they were all just very, very tired from all this running that we've done. It's also likely that running over those damage tiles in the Feymarch has left his party on the brink, but with the exact amount of hit points that you need to win a fight.
Unfortunately for Leviathan's case, that also was true with the exact amount of points they needed to win that fight.
So Heartgamer with the rat tail, that is one of those key items that you got to keep in the back of your mind when you're running if you pick it up and you don't have a hook. Because that could potentially be leading to wherever this Antlion is going to turn up. I was really hoping that we would see a very aggressive YOLO play from Neo here, which would be dive the moon, find Tella, and then just immediately start looking for Antlion amongst the moon bosses. And this is why I lose almost every supermarket sweep seed that I play.
You just go for it. Yeah, it's boss hunts in supermarket sweep are probably the most divisive things in supermarket sweep. I mean, the bosses could be just chilling on the moon, which you have effectively no reason to go to usually. It could be in that Antlion could be behind this package the entire time, and our runners have been sitting on it, not checking it. It could be in the King Queen spot, like one of the worst spots, because we have the magma key. We don't have to go the hook route.
All of the strategies for hunting down a boss make total sense in your mind when you're doing them until it doesn't work out, and then you realize that you spent 15 minutes wandering the moon, just meandering, hoping that it's going to work out.
Now, interesting find on Heartgamer's side. There is that sand ruby, and we know I don't know if Heartgamer knows, but we know exactly who's behind the sand ruby, and that is Tella. So she now has access to objective number 2.
So Neo, the Baron Inn, when you get an early magma key, is again not anything I've ever done, but something some certain runners might forget exists entirely until you've full cleared the entire rest of the seed, and then you say, well, what's left? I've beaten everything in the seed. And then you go, oh right, Baron Inn. So Heart now if there is no Tella up on the moon, we've seen Earth. There would only be potentially, I think, a hook left to check for characters. That in Baron, but that's not an actual castle or location. So Heart now just in that position that anyone who has run enough of these races has found themselves in, where you just say, well, what am I gonna do now? How do I find this boss? Is it worth YOLOing all the moon checks? Am I gonna just keep clearing things? Because I don't have Luca Key, I don't have Tower Key, I don't have Baron, I don't have Harp, I don't have Hook. And this is when whatever you do is always the wrong choice.
Oh, 100%. That's just kind of that's how it works. It's always the wrong choice unless somebody else makes that choice, and then it's a galaxy brain perfection choice.
Yep, and Neo about to show us who is up on the moon.
And as a fellow sage and very good runner of Free Enterprise would say, not a character.
Nope, not who we're looking for in this specific instance. But yet, Porum and Possum are really only 2 letters apart from each other.
And we've never seen Porum and Possum in the same room together.
I know. It's a real head scratcher. And we've never seen Morpheus and Porum in the same room either, so who really knows what's going on there?
Just like we've never seen PK in a successful Baron fate. So, same difference.
Oh, that stings. That stings right to the core. So, Neobari, I think, making the right choice as opposed to what I want to see happen, which is you don't have Tella yet, so you can continue to put off this boss hunt, or you can, potentially be killing 2 birds with 1 stone, because you do know that it's guaranteed if you find the Sand Ruby, and, maybe Antlion is in a nice spot. But I don't think we've seen Antlion, so Antlion cannot be a dwarf. If anyone remembers from that Earth Crystal dive from Heartgamer.
That was Kelbrenna. Dolls are in the 2nd spot of Dwarf Castle.
So then we're looking at, I mean, there are several locations left. We'll see what Heart Girl does here, because she is now exclusively on a boss hunt.
Yeah, and definitely making the right play with going to Fey March, hopefully picking up the freebie chest, seeing the bosses. And yeah, it's a matter of just ticking off boxes of where have I looked, where do I have access to. For all we know, Antlion could be behind a massive chain of chains that could be, oh, I don't know, Hook, Rat Tail, Baron, Luca, Tower, Top of Tower, something weird. So it could be a real quick find, or it could be yeah, you're here forever. Have fun.
Oh yeah, I mean, we could have top of tower into Luca, into tower, into harp, into Baron, and then it turns out it's been on the giant the whole time, which is what I end up doing.
And speaking of giant, our wonderful restreamer Alice has mentioned it could be absolutely be an elements, which would the element spot's just rude. Period. End of discussion. But also shout out to our wonderful behind the scenes crew. Alice again restreaming, Psychonaut doing some tracking. Give them likes, loves, follows. They are fantastic people. They make this look as fantastic as it is. Side note, shout out to Scala Kitty, who's actually racing, FYI. Who got this entire background all put together, and it's fantastic. And super big shout out to my co-commentator, the wonderful PK4787, for letting me just gush about this Pink Puff League for as long as I have.
Well, we wouldn't all be here without you, so you can take some credit there.
It's nice to see the newer experienced runners get their time in the spotlight, get their time to shine. And for people that are watching this right now and going, hey, this might sound like something I'd want to do, like I'm learning, or I'm pretty new at this, we'd love to have you. This is kind of our time every week, 8 p.m. Eastern. Join the Discord. Let me see if I can type and talk at the same time. Hey, I can. Head over to the Discord, head over to Newbie Corner. You'll see a lot of these people. You'll see info about Pink Puff League and other community races and clubs that you can absolutely join in on. It's a great community. It's a great place to learn. It's a great place to meet some fantastic people. And it's a great place to meme about free enterprise, if you so choose to do that as well.
So I believe we had a job dwarf check there, but I missed it. If anyone in chat saw. And meanwhile, Neobari, slightly more total hit points as a percentage on his various team members, is going to make very quick work of this Leviathan. This is some interesting routing choices here. This is a character check, but I'm curious because the one nice thing about Earth Crystal relative to when you're only hunting key items, Earth Crystal is a pretty long check. But here it would be a 2 character check and 3 boss checks. So it is something you see more of early, particularly when you are on a character in a boss hunt. Are we gonna find another Tella? I think Galaxy Brain play. It's Tella on the giant with Antlion at CPU.
Also, Neobari just had a very difficult choice that he had to make. The character in Dwarf Castle happened to be arguably the best white mage, and honestly one of the best all-around characters, Rosa, who was originally going to, I believe, get rid of Fu, and then decided to get rid of Palom instead. So it looks like actually both of our runners are pretty much setting up their final teams. Heart Gamer has gone the entire melee tanks plus Fu, and then Neobari has a little bit more of a blended approach with the 3 melee, Rosa and Fu. So I'm curious to see how that's going to pay off for both of them.
Yeah, Rosa is, the white mage I would consider taking here alongside the Fu and then 3 Zerkers, just because you throw an adamant armor on her, she can get cure 3 relatively quickly. she's also, I mean, the dolls aren't a great fight to run in there. One of the beauties of Dwarf Castle is you get a base level character in between two fights, and that second fight gives you, I think, the highest amount of experience for the lowest amount of hit points available in the game, or at least, you know, on the overworld or the blue planet. Wow, I'm skipping a little bit through it, but so she gets a slingshot on 21,000 XP on a normal boss. So she would basically be caught right up, and 42,000 experience on Rosa gets her basically, you know, to the blink spell, which is sort of that middle ground that you're looking for.
No, it absolutely makes sense. And as a side note, we have seen what is in Dwarf Castle. It's PK's favorite item, Baron Key. It does open up another set of shops for armor and weapons, so you can see what's there for sale. I'm not sure, aside from like a crystal sword or an Excal, what else they'd be looking for. But yeah, Niyobari taking Rosa over, getting some more EXP under her belt. For those that don't know and are curious, like, why do we keep going over to the egg thing location, weird little spot on the map? The eggs are, well, they're the rare enemy in this area, and you can summon guaranteed rare enemy spawns with a siren, which is why sirens are really useful for grinding. The egg, which produces a gold dragon if you don't kill it in one shot, gives them tons and tons of EXP. As in, I think it's 32,000 per egg. So you can get a lot of levels really fast. There's some people that take the approach of grind early, grind often. There's others that will hold off for as long as they can. Kind of the party dictates what you want to do in that particular situation. But if you're looking for places to grind, get some XP underground, where Niyobari's been going with those eggs is the perfect spot. And again, you just have to do about 16 or 1800 damage in one shot to fully kill the egg, or just coffin it, or hourglass it, whatever works.
Yeah, there are, you know, you can cook an egg a lot of different ways, but the XP at the end is still always going to be the same. It is 32,000, 64,000 if you happen to be over 10 key items, and it is by far the fastest way, if you can take it down quickly, to gain experience. And I think that was sort of a godsend for Niyobari getting that Baron Key, because it drew him right to the town of Baron. And you sort of saw him take a look at those bosses and then realize, oh, I should probably knock this one out of the way.
Yeah, let's get that one done, just in case. And I believe this is the one that has the Sand Ruby. So, and Niyobari knows who's behind the Sand Ruby.
So this is when you can really, this is when we'll see maybe if Neo activates YOLO mode. There are 6 bosses up on the moon. There are 2 on the giant. So 8 bosses represents, I would say, right around half of what he has left to see. And like we said, it's always the wrong play, but say it with me, Chad. Never Baron Castle. Absolutely never Baron Castle.
Well, Heartgamer's definitely taking that advice to heart. She is not just taking the tower check, she is going keyless tower, heading right up to the top and taking out, seeing who's there. And I was hoping to see an Antlion right there at the elements or the ruby spot. Unfortunately, we do see our freest of free fights in an annoying spot, but we don't have to deal with that one. Instead, we get to see a different kind of free fight with the 3 guards and 1 officer?
I'm not entirely sure. I think that sprite looks the same regardless. But you were right. And that means King Queen is 3 steps past their vanilla location. This is the vanilla King Queen spot is one of the most formidable of boss checks, particularly when a magma key seed, because you don't have any way of peeking it besides making that entire run, and I don't think we're looking for any more characters, so that might be the last check we see our runners make here.
And speaking of making some good checks, Niabari did open the Baron weapon shop and found Excalibur. Words are hard. Excalibur, one of the best weapons for Cecil, and aside from the spoon, the best throwing dart for Edge. So Edge go burr, Cecil also go burr.
Yeah, that's really the final piece of the puzzle. A crystal sword would be cool, but it's not going to be game changing at all with the amount of power that you just managed to hand off to Edge. If we see Niobari do Earth and ends up with 2 edges and a Cecil, Zeromus is already going to be quivering in his or her cute or not cute boots.
Also, as a side note, the top of tower, it's a key item with the pink tail, but ironically, kind of a dud. With this particular flag set, that pink tail is guaranteed to give you adamant armor. Well, that's great. Cool, thanks. We have adamant armors at home already. We don't need more. Heck.
But we do see Hart walking this out. She is at, if I can add correctly, 9 key items. So
yes,
I am certainly not against the idea of walking this out. The top of tower is something you will consider resetting out of if it's not the key item or something that you're looking for. But when you are so close to 10, you have basically your final team ready. The minute I hit 10 in these is typically when I decide, all right, I'm going to go to the moon, I'm going to grind, and then I'm going to not find the boss that I'm hunting for. And then I'm going to come back down, but I'll have a bunch of levels. And then I'll do the giant, and then I'll get even more experience. And then by the time I'm at Zeromus, it's just good night. Like 2.5 hours later.
Ultimate Math Slayer PK is speaking from experience if you couldn't tell on that one. Point of note, though, you might be looking at Heart Gamer's key item counter and say, but wait, there's 10 that are lit up. The pass does not count as a key item. For the sake of the 10 key item bonuses. The pass is its own unique piece of paper that kind of looks weird. It's just there because it's nice to know that we have instant Z access instead of walking the entire lunar subterrane.
And I would also quickly like to point out that thus far Baron Castle has yielded nothing of value and a Porum.
I was waiting.
No, Heart Gamer, take a save. Oh, when you accidentally land the ship like that, what you do is you take a save, so that way you can act like you were purposefully save scumming in case Sheila 1 didn't turn out to be anything. That is the best sage wisdom that I can offer.
As Tybalt said, Heart Gamer definitely stuck the landing on that one.
That's when you get to spend like 2.5 seconds saying, come on, get back in the ship. Get back in the ship. Let's go.
It's like if you have any specific buttons to push, you push them then and there.
You just mash everything.
Effectively.
The longest walk down to the trash can. We're getting 2 key item checks at once.
So we do have an annoying required double dip of Sheila with the pan. So that's going to be at one point where I would just look at that and go, thanks, I hate it. On the flip side, Niabari has shown us the Luca Key, which is an interesting check in that you get the key item first and then you fight the boss.
Was really hoping we would see Niobari immediately run down to that basement throne for the boss check, just so we can potentially eliminate Baron from the seed. That pan is, yeah, you only get 1 bonus check out of the pan as opposed to 2. It is also Heart Gamer's 10th key item, though, as we were just discussing. So any fight that she wants to take, any grind she wants to take, is now going to give double XP. But it looks like Heart is headed up to the moon.
And also, Niabari has gotten... He has done his sweeping and his cleaning, and he has gotten rid of the mop in favor of the discount old man. So I'm thinking Niabari has chosen Tella as the anchor for his team.
Gamba in chat asked if we're looking at maybe a giant play. There are 2 bosses up in the giant. There are 6 bosses up on the moon, and we are just looking for one of them. So we could easily see it. If I am in Heart's position right here, I would strongly consider I go to the moon. I go into Cape Bahamut, and I maybe do a gold dragon fight, check to see if that's my boss. If not, I face check all the other moon bosses so that I can at least clear that out in my head that they're not going to be there.
I almost just had a heart attack looking at Nihabari's screen. Tentacles and claws are hard to distinguish, y'all. Okay?
So thus far, Baron not required. That Luca Key from Baron did technically win me one of my Swiss matches in the last tournament, so I can't hate on the castle giving that specific key item too much. We are seeing Neo circle back around to that Earth Crystal. This, again, in these flags, Earth Crystal is a much more highly valued item just because it is 2 boss checks, and they're going to be real quick here.
Ooh. PK, out in a non-adamant sea, would you like to explain why finding that particular DKC at cave value is not fun?
That is so. Dark Knight Cecil's waves are, for whatever reason, derived from the physical attack of the location. And this, if you want a way of remembering what has the strongest physical attack, it is the places that don't do physical attacks. So the highest physical attack places, believe it or not, are Bahamut, who never lashes out with his fists, and Leviathan, who also never has any sort of physical attack, are 2 of the highest ones. And so that was, I mean, even with the adamant armor on, the wave there with no adamant armor would do probably 11 to 1300 damage there per swing. With adamant, you're still not getting through that free.
Yeah, that's definitely one of those boss fights where you see at that spot and you just go, oh, I hope you're not required.
Yep.
Unless you have an Edward, at which point I'm probably the only one that's happy because then I will just hide and the problem is solved.
Yep, and Berserk now pointing out CPU, who doesn't have a physical attack, has incredibly high physical attack for some reason. Like the Wyvern spot, it's somebody said it, and it's a very easy way of keeping it in mind, is like, would the vanilla boss do physical damage here? No? Okay, then maybe I need to be afraid of physical damage here.
Yeah, it's one of those really weird things that with the free enterprise you always have to factor in, are those like weird things of, oh yeah, it has really low physical, oh my gosh, crazy magical attack,
Yep.
And it's like, and keeping those sorted in your head is a lot easier said than done. I mean, a lot of the full-time racers that you see in tournaments and other community clubs, they've gotten that. I mean, PK, you're one of them. You've got that knowledge down, or at the very least have a good idea. But for our ping puffs, that could be something that they might not realize until they walk into a bad situation and go, oh, that's a lot more than I was expecting.
Yep, and the inverse holds true almost equally as well, which is, the element spot has terrible magic. That Bahamut spot, also has pretty terrible damage. So you'll see people, like, if someone like Rubicant, you'll see in that Bahamut spot, and you'll say, oh no, this is going to be terrible. But then you realize that those Fire 2s are only hitting for like 180 damage. The Glare is going to be terrible no matter what, but certain magic spots, or certain spots, low magic, high physical, low magic, really changes what you can and cannot do in certain locations.
Agreed. I remember the first time I fought, who was it? Odin at the element spot, and I was freaking out, and then it used Zantetsuki, and I was like, oh. Huh. Okay, fine. Let's move on.
Yeah, Odin at Elements is hilarious. It looks so dramatic, like he's got his axe up or his sword and he charges at you and then he just does like negligible damage. You're like, oh, Odin, come on. I was really, that's really not very much damage.
It's like clearly it did wasn't paying attention and equipped Excalibur today.
Yeah. Grab the wrong sword. I do love this. I really like this play from Heartgamer. You can say to yourself, you know, I can do all these key item checks, but they're a heck of a lot slower than just being able to run up to a boss, see it's not who you're looking for, and reset out. The one thing I don't like is that she hasn't over grinded before eventually going to the giant and then getting another 500,000 XP so that your team just has silly levels and Cecil with the hit points that he should never have in an effectively run race.
The worst feeling in the world is to go to the giant and do your D machine grind. You have your characters up to where you think you can handle. It's like, all right, element spot is fine. You get to the element spot and it's alt gauntlet. It's like you've done first grind. Have you done second grind though? Because now you get to do second grind.
Yep, and there are bosses there or at CPU like Dark Imps, where you can end up pulling out 500,000 to 600,000 experience if you want from just one fight, and it's one of those feels bad, but then it really feels the worst for Zeromus.
Yeah, and Heart showing us a really good way of just getting through and checking spots as quickly as possible. As soon as you see the boss, you reset, you call it even and done, and move on to the next spot. That being said, I will say that we have, in our first ever Pink Puff League match, we have our first place finisher. So get some GGs in chat for Rybon, hopefully I said that name right, who finished in 54 minutes and 1 second. So GGs.
Yeah, our first place, as Moon is haunted. So no Moon. So we will see. With these flags in a 54-minute time, that means Antlion could still be absolutely anywhere. That doesn't eliminate any checks in my mind. If it was really early, you might think, okay, maybe it's here or here. But with these flags, with the number of runners that we have in a race like this, Antlion could be anywhere, and maybe it's the curse of being on the restream that's going to end up with some last locations here.
I'm someone that will make the cheeky package check, and I keep staring at that box going, you should check it. But that's just me, because I'm a horrible person. Who is not a horrible person is Arusta, who's finished in second place. Oh. We'll unpack that in a hot second.
Oh, so I was wrong. I was wrong.
Oh, Heart, pause, stop. What? Okay. Okay. Arusta finished in second at a time of 55 minutes and 23 seconds. Heartgamer has briefly shown us we have found our objective number 1. That was the that's the Murasame.
Pale Dim.
That is Pale Dim spot.
Yep. Murasame. Yeah. So Antlion has been located. I do like this play. That is not. We were talking about physical magic, whatever. That is a rough, almost everything spot. So, and you got to go fight Zeromus after this anyway. So I like this play. We're gonna see a gold dragon grind from Heartgamer, but she is now in no mode, and in the booth we're now in no mode. So hey, straight dive in the moon seems to work when I'm not in the seed.
Of course. Yeah, Niabari has shown us that Luca Key has the twin harp, so unfortunately we know that is bait, 100%. Seeing Valvalis is, well, just never fun. Seeing Engadave finishing third is awesome, so GG's to Dave there with a time of 56 minutes and 12 seconds. But yeah, I definitely like what Heart's doing right now. Get the grind. We'll see if she can show off some potential life glitches, which, would you like to explain how the life glitch works?
Yeah, you cast life on an enemy when it's dead and you get more experience. It's huge. Or should I explain it better than that? Trying to stick with the John Madden answers to all the questions today.
I mean, we'll be nice. I will say we have a fourth place finisher at 57 minutes 30 seconds. J-Run TR has finished, so GG's to him as well. I'd say give a little bit more detailed for our
My favorite way of
posterior.
explaining this is if you have a really low level Rydia and you put a curse string on her and she's dead, and you try to life her, you'll do what I did, which is say there's something wrong with Free Enterprise. Rydia refuses to come back alive. And the reality is she has no vitality. Her vitality is so low because that is the stat that is used to determine how many hit points a character has when they get brought back to life. Now, all of the enemies have a 0 vitality, which means while their sprite is still on the screen, you can cast a life spell on them, and what it does is it brings them back to life, but they have 0 vitality, so it brings them back with 0 health, so they basically just die twice, and the game registers that as you killing them twice. So you get double the experience, double the money, double the fun with life glitch fun. I couldn't think of something to use in place of gum, but
yeah, I agree.
yeah. But anyway, you can even get 2 life glitches off. You could get a 3rd life glitch off in certain situations. But with Heart Gamer's party, there's not a huge impetus to want to do anything more than just burn these things down, as many of them as you can, as quickly as possible. Life 2 does bring them back with full health, which is a grind you might see if you had to happen to run into something like a free boss in the Giant. Keep in mind, though, if you bring them back with a life 2, they will no longer remain hourglassed. So the reason you don't see that grind more often in random encounters is because those dragons will just come back with a vengeance. But if it's something you can cast Toad on, for example, they will return to life as a Toad because they haven't found a prince to kiss.
Oh, I want to try that now. I am a simple mind. I hear funny things like that. I have to. Just like next time I have a certain cursed anchor, I'm gonna try using a life potion for science.
Well, the only reason that I use it as an example is that someone had to explain to me that that's why she wasn't coming back to life, because I legitimately went and I was like, oh, there's something wrong with the game. This isn't like she's not coming back to life. They're like, is there a curse string on her?
Well, as a wonderful restreamer Alicel mentioned, if you have problems, you can always go to the bug reports section of Free Enterprise.
I typically try to stay very quiet because I'm almost always certain that it's me and not the game. And then I just save them for moments like this where I can just publicly throw them out there. The Life 2 grind as well is almost never the right solution, but it is another one of those things for science reasons. It's really entertaining to try.
And what's going to be entertaining for Heart is looks like she is ready to go and take on that googly-eyed bug monstrosity in a kind of punchy spot. Now, interesting thing about Antlion. Antlion is a pugilist in its own right. Anytime you use a physical attack against him, it hits you with a counter. So if you don't want to deal with the counters and just want to deal with the regular attacks, use other things. Use spells. Use things like aim, darts, jump. Pretty much everybody except Cecil can contribute, unless you just want Cecil to go burr. At that point, Antlion doesn't know how to counter because it only says go punch, I punch back. But that does mitigate some of the damage that Antlion does. Now, again, they're wearing adamant armor, so not even Antlion can punch that hard.
No, it's not a terrible fight, but you might as well do your grind before you take on Antlion, because if you're going to do a grind, you might as well benefit from it for the one fight you have before Zeromus. And one last addendum to that previous rant, Tibble pointing out another thing that I had to have explained to me was that if you cast stone on something, or if you use a Medusa arrow, you can't life glitch it. And I know that because I tried multiple times, thought the game was broken, because I was Medusa arrowing something, and then later someone in my chat was like, I didn't want to say it while you were doing it because that would be a spoiler, but you can't do that because the stone, you're not allowed to life when someone is stoned.
Life lesson right there. Not that I've done that a few times myself. Oh, we do have a 5th place finisher with Soapbox Gamer finishing in 5th with a time of 1 hour, 2 minutes, and 19 seconds. GG to Soapbox. Not gonna lie, it's super nice to see all these new names showing up.
Yep. And Jabron TR also took 4th place at 57:30.
So GG's to everybody. Now, with Heart Gamer, once she finishes Antlion, what is faster, walking the entire lunar subterrane to fight Z, or actually leaving the moon and using the pass?
Well,
oh boy,
several schools of thought here. Really just diverging ideas. No, it's unless I believe in the only argument is if you're at something like the ribbon spot. In my mind, it's kind of a 50-50. But up here, it is faster to just leave. Even somewhere like the ribbon spot, people have said, and again, I mean, I'm just a stubborn individual who refuses to change, so I'll still make that walk. But the length of the walk is almost the same amount of time, plus or minus, that it is, because you have to factor in that you have to do the lunar whale cutscene, you have to do the fly to Troya, you have to go through the pass store, you have to go through all of those things. But from anywhere besides those bottom 3 spots, it is definitely faster.
We have E-Ninja in chat going, but swag walk. We're not going to be swag walking today.
Yes, and Zoom Waffle pointing out that swag walking or walking from anywhere in the lunar subterrane, if you wipe to Zeromus, it is definitely not faster to if you have to reset. But I've never died to Zeromus ever recently, like literally the last seed I ran.
Like I said, I straight up said I took 4 edges darting something strong and a foo, and Z kicked my butt. So yeah.
But not all that glitters is gold, and not all who wandered are lost. Because Neobari may or may not, eventually regret trying to full clear all of the overworld before checking Moon. But as far as us sitting over here, we are on our way to get a treat, as we're on our way to get a butt, too.
Yeah, so as soon as we see Heartgamer prepping her party, and this is usually the not so subtle hint for blue cloth on sticks to start showing up.
Well, we're gonna have to have a showdown between the harps and the Z flags.
Right?
I mean, who wants the music more, or who wants that Zeroma sound more?
Working on Los Dos.
But I mean, you started this thing. This thing has been a huge success. Nothing but the highest props to Asuka for putting this together, getting everybody to commit. And so I believe that before we get this music cutscene, there's an important question that you should ask on this inaugural Pink Puff League of yours.
Over 500 and blah 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 sprites, and we get to find out now whose butt are these pink puffs kicking tonight.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So many seeds. Scala Kitty, our artist in residence, is actually racing right now. I don't think we've seen it done from Scala. Also, Calm Lamity has been producing a bunch of music, as along with Boardface, who put the original songs in. So we'll get Butt to the left and Tunes to the right after we get to watch Eddie fall on the ground, which is his preferred location.
Butts to the left, music to the right, and I'm stuck in the middle with you.
Stuck in that bottom center area.
I hate talking over music, but we kind of do. Okay, first off, quick shout outs. We had 3 finishers during this time. Reckless Charlie's finished in 6th place at 1 hour, 6 minutes, 3 seconds. Dubword 47 is in 7th with 1 hour, 6 minutes, and 8 seconds. Cubs Rule 21, fellow restreamer, has finished in 8th with 1 hour, 7 minutes, and 12 seconds. And as for butt being cute, it depends. How badly did you get your butt kicked in Pokemon originally when you had to deal with Professor Oak's nephew, Gary?
Oh, Gary. I will say I love the anime hair that just isn't capable of existing in real life. But
It's anime physics.
I'm 50-50 on Gary. I like the stance. It's a very relaxed pose.
That's a relaxed power stance, especially with that fanny pack.
I mean, you don't wear a fanny pack all the time?
I mean, only
Wait, does nobody wear fanny packs anymore? Is it just me?
Only in decades that were the 80s, when I was like knee-high to a cockroach.
Only when traveling in places where you still don't need a fanny pack, but you can get away with it because you're never going to see those people again.
Allie brings up a good point. Allie can do it. It's called gel and hairspray. Your hair's getting long enough to where, yeah, it works.
You're also seeing Neobari do what's called the panic mist cave check, where you run for an hour and 9 minutes, and then you realize I'm on a boss hunt and I haven't checked the mist cave. Fortunately or unfortunately, there's no boss there. It looks like picked up the hook.
I believe that was the Twin Harp check. And a quick side note, as Heart Gamer is just blasting Gary Miss right now with nukes and darts and all the other fun stuff. She did cast a Silk Web on Z, which triggers a nuke counterspell, but also significantly slows down Z. It makes the fight a little bit more tolerable. I definitely know she's been learning a thing or two. I saw that pause buffer with the nuke cast to kind of save a few pixels here and there. So kudos to that. I wonder who did her.
Maybe he has an okay coach. I wouldn't know who. But this is definitely the strat I would use for this team, which is let's just go ahead and hit him with every single thing that we have. Let's not worry about the health refill because we are swinging way too hard. And with adamant armors, rocks are falling and they are not hitting anybody except for Yugi/Edge.
And with that, GG's. I would normally just to Heart Gamer, but with a difference of 0.036 second. Literally 0.063, no.
36 thousandths of a second.
Yes, thank you. 36 thousandths of a second. Heart Gamer 26 has finished in 9th. Actually, they were given a tie. Heart Gamer 26 and Coving Tunes finished at 1 hour, 10 minutes, and 46 seconds.
Yeah, so I'm sorry if you had anywhere else to be, but now Heart Gamer and Coving Tunes are going to have to run another supermarket sweepstakes to see who gets 9th and who gets the 10th place slot. GG's to both of them. Big GG's to Heart Gamer. Let's see if she's interested in an interview.
That was a very, very smooth Z fight. Hybrid strats are always a good thing to start with. So the nukes were going, the darts, just the general, everybody was going burr on that team. So it was pretty clean cut, if you ask me.
Yeah, you usually want to keep track of the amount of damage you're doing every round, but when you have nukes, whites, and Cecil and the Edge and Kane all going burr, you don't have to count too high. And I believe we are joined by Heart Gamer. GG.
Thank you.
First off, I just need to say, of course, in our very first Pink Puff match, we'd have a tie. So, congrats on that one.
That was totally my plan. If I couldn't get first, I had a tie.
Working as intended. Yeah. all
So
in
you
all,
decided to go up to the. You just my first question. You decided to go up to the moon, which is a play that I love. You've checked
Mhm.
all of the boss spots but one. Talk us through sort of when you saw that, what your plan was going to be otherwise, and then because I really liked the choices that you made there.
Well, of course, the last spot was the very top spot, of course. I knew I shouldn't have faded it, but it's a low. But, sorry. If it wasn't up there, my plan was to hit Baron, but I knew I needed to grind no matter what, so that's why I kind of left. So my plan was to check there. If it wasn't up there, I was gonna go grind, hit Baron, and then go from there.
yeah, you definitely gave us a bit of a scare when we saw Antlion, and then the reset. We're like,
I did not feel comfortable at all. I didn't feel comfortable at all taking on Antlion at that moment. So I knew as soon as I found him, I was going to grind. Unfortunately, that's the only spot I know where there's gold dragons. So that's why I left.
it works. You go with what you know, and then
Well,
you
that
just-
was the closest spot for you to get to.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I did debate. I had a little debate of should I go back to the Earth to go to Sirens? No, I know there's gold dragons up here. I know there's a chest that has hair dryers, but I don't know where that is either. So
that the hair dryers is its own little cave outside of the whole LST path. It has, I think, like
Yeah, just northwest of the tower.
okay.
But I mean, the hair dryers would have netted you 80,000 experience, which is sort of a drop in the pond compared to the 2 or 3 gold dragon fights you did.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, really well run. Was there any? I mean, I don't know how much you've run these, but was there a character you're looking for? Sort of. Yeah.
Oh, sorry. But I tend to run supermarket sweeps a lot, so this is one of my favorite ladder races. But I tend to look for Edge just because I like Edge the most. But I knew I needed some type of healer, otherwise I would have kept the second Edge I found. So, I mean, I could have got rid of Kane, but I kind of have a soft spot for Kane as well, so.
Kane's definitely one of those ones. Just in general, melee fighters tend to be easier to get to Z butt kicking levels quicker than mages. But still, like, yeah, it's having that healer is yes. Like I'm totally on team healer, please, just in case.
I mean, I could have had food do the healing, but if he went down, I was kind of SOL'd, so.
Yeah, Foo's an interesting little mop in general, especially for me. It's the mana pool or the MP pool. That's it's like, oh cool, I can do all this. Wait, I don't have the magic power. Oh, heck.
Yeah. I mean, that's the reason, I will be honest, that's the reason I took Golbez when I did. I actually thought about debating resetting out, but I forgot. I knew I didn't save. So I'm like, if I did that, I'd be losing 2. I'm like, I'm just gonna take it. And then of course, Edge kept darting when he wasn't supposed to dart. So.
Yeah, you had that. You had the Avenger on Kane, who was just swinging away for no value. That Golbaz is relatively free with the armor that you had equipped. Fortunately, just not maybe the fastest, but then it's more spells on Fu. So it seemed like a fine play. Although I will say you weren't supposed to say I was going to do Baron. You were supposed to say I was going to go to the Giant, because we don't do Baron on these broadcasts. PK.
I
And it was haunted.
Giant so much. I've had my first ever SMS seed was a required Giant. The one I did most recently was a required Giant. I don't like Giant.
See, when I do Giant, it's not required, but I'm do it before I do other things, and then the very last location in the seed, wherever that happens to be, is the required one. So maybe I should stop doing the Giant.
No, but then objective number 1 is going to be a complete Giant of Babel.
Of course it is.
But yeah, otherwise, just your thoughts in general of, like, again, like you've said how much you love Supermarket Sweep, but having being a part of the Pink Puff League, like What are you hoping to get out of it? What do you hope to see with it in the future, so I can take notes? And
Well, I'm hoping to learn some more techniques. I mean, before I went into Free Enterprise, I relied on my husband, Tybalt, on a lot of this stuff before I got into talking to you guys and meeting you guys, because right now I'm barely doing, as you guys saw, reflect strats. So it'd be nice to learn maybe some more different strategies. Like, I know there's not going to happen, but Fu and Fred's 1200 strats I know is a good one to do, and all that different stuff. Just learning more, I guess, like tricks and trades. Like I said, also, I didn't know where a lot of the gold dragons were, so I kind of went to someplace I know, and I know in the past that has kind of bit me in the butt a little bit. That's why I also am trying to learn different characters too, and not purposely hunting characters or keeping characters. So that's what I'm hoping for in this. And
Well,
just to
Ty
improve.
Balt and Ty Hart together. I mean, the you know, the decision making that you showed, and you know, the way you ran this seed definitely, you know, shows a lot of promise. Like, you know, I really love that, you know, going up to the moon, knowing that the bosses were there. You know, there are always little things that you need to fill in when you're learning a game, but as far as, you know, what you showed, as far as your strategy and the decision making, all look great to me.
Ah, thank you. That's nice to hear. Nice to hear from someone else than my husband, because you know he's gonna he's
gonna say
supposed
that
to
no
say,
matter what.
yeah,
Yeah.
he's supposed to say nice things. So
I got nothing. But even from watching you start racing with like campfire people, now like you've made massive improvements. So it's gonna be real fun to watch and see you grow into a super strong, powerful pink puff.
I'm excited. And then once maybe if I graduate from Pink Puff, I could take down Tybalt.
Tybalt
that's-
versus Heart Girls, EZ4 Grand Finals, calling it right now.
All of
I
my
know.
cookies are now on Heart. But yeah, Heart, any last minute shout outs or whatnot?
Well, thank you to the Restream team. Thank you for Ali and Synchronaut. And of course, thank you, Asuka, and thank you, PK, for the commentary. And again, thank you, Asuka, for even coming up with this league. I'm so excited because it's nice to have that league where you could start off before you hit the big leagues. And I'm really excited for this. I've been looking forward to it ever since you kind of brought it up. So, and then of course, you know, Free Enterprise for having this fun community as well. So.
Like I said, we look forward to seeing everything else that all of you amazing pink puffs are going to be doing over the next couple weeks. And GG's again, Heart Gamer.
Thank you.
GG's.
Did have two more people finish, as we see Niabari taking on Gary Miss, I should say. In 11th place, we have Stoppable Force with a time of 1 hour, 15 minutes, and 23 seconds. And Warlink05 has finished in 12th with 1 hour, 16 minutes, and 24 seconds. So GG's to those two.
Stoppable Force found a movable object. I've been waiting to use that one for a while. I've had that one just in the back of my head.
So you have to wait till
And
stop.
Mio, it looks like, I think, cleared everything as far as key item boss checks before finally deciding to head up to the moon. Did give us that music and is now just really pulverizing Gary Miss here.
Damage. You know you're fine. You're good. Plus, with that tele-anchor, Rosa essentially on babysitting duty to make sure none of the guys decide to completely run out of HP. This should be another straightforward Z fight. It could always go wrong. Z does very annoying Z things, but it looks like for the most part, yeah, it's a good amount of damage coming out.
Yep, going to nerf here. Rosa at 1836 with an adamant armor is sort of. Are you trying to be salty? Well, not going to be a huge deal anymore. Yep. We'll get a counter nuke. The adamant armors are. We'll see what this counter nuke does, but unless math is completely fails, I don't think it's going to be too big of a deal. And
oh, there it is. There is the snap, crackle, and pop, and in 13th, Neobari has completed the seed at an official time of
122.50, 7.794. The hundreds, tenths, hundreds, and thousands of seconds apparently are very important in this Pink Puff League.
Really? These puffs are tenacious. But yeah, definitely get those GGs out in chat for Neobari with that 13th place finish. And then we will see if Neobari would like to come and do an interview.
And once again, yeah, big shout outs to Psychonaut and Alicel, our restreamer and our tracker, to Heartgirl and Neobari as well for letting us watch and talk as it's going on. And again, Asuka, all the love in the world for putting this together. I was very happy to get to be here on this inaugural race, as I believe we'll be joined by Neobari right now.
All right, Neobari, I have to ask the question. I mentioned it before the restream even started. How does it feel to be part of a restream when you're not the restreamer?
I don't know. I mean, I haven't done a whole bunch of races, but I don't know. It doesn't feel that much different. I don't think so.
Oh, second question: who is the best coach in college basketball?
Boy,
Key.
Sorry, it was in the chat earlier. So sort of talk us through your run there. I noticed that you put Baron in off for a while. Was that deliberate, or was that sort of just I got Magma Key early?
I did put it off because I got Magma Key early. I'm like, I will eventually get here. And then once I got Baron Key, I'm like, well, it'll make sense to do all this at the same time.
I definitely don't blame you for that one. PK was very happy to see that. Anything involving Baron, and well, PK does PK things. What was your thought as you're doing all these checks and you're not finding Antlion? What was the final straw going, all right, this isn't working, let's just chase the moon?
Well, I decided that I would go with the let's clear as much earth as possible, and then I kept hitting points where it's like, oh, what if I get the one check that I need to go do this other check, and which was Tower Key. I'm like, well, if I get Hook, I need to take this out. Oh, I found Hook.
Yeah, on K main, you're pretty much always, you're going to be able to just sort of link things together. It's hard to talk yourself out of it. And you did sort of what I do, which is, that's you 50-50 moon in that, and I never get it right.
Yeah, and it's there's certain risks to being like, do you go to the moon? I mean, I definitely had a team that could handle the moon, but it's like, well, I felt like I had done maybe some extra checks, and it's like, well, if I hit, let's just hit all of Earth, and this time it didn't pay off.
It's one of those. It's the right check until it's not. So I mean, no fault of your own for going that route at all.
I at least didn't feel bad for going top down moon, because it's like, oh, well, okay, there you are.
Yeah, that's honestly, I would have been in the opposite situation. I'm always team bottom up, so I would have, it paid off for you. I would have been the grumpy one in the background going, well, anybody that went top down just completely smoked me. All right. But yeah, overall, how did you feel the seed was? Thoughts on Pink Puff League as a whole and things like that?
It's nice to have a place to race with folks that I feel like are more, like, at least I hope they're close to my skill level. I don't get to play this a whole bunch. My wrists have issues, so it's like I can't sit there and be like, we're going to knock out 2 or 3 seeds a day. That's not going to happen. Do I play 1 or 2 seeds a week? Yeah, that's about it. So, I'm looking forward to, it's a good time to be able to do this. So, looking forward to the other seeds. I mean, I've done more difficult stuff, Lollyho League brackets and Lollyho League Swiss stuff and some of the community race stuff on the side. So, I'm confident that I can handle something a bit more difficult moving forward, but I'm cool with this kind of stuff as well.
Yeah, that's going to be the fun thing to see how a lot of you evolve while the seeds get harder to the point where we're getting to those Swiss and bracket flags. And then y'all are just going to run the table with Zima Stone 4. Like, everyone's going to just take out PK. It's going to be great. I mean, hi, PK.
My weaknesses I make very apparent. Look, just do Baron Castle.
I'm not going to have time to race with restreaming, so, it's all right.
Right? No, and again, for those watching, Niabari is, I mean, you've most likely, if you haven't seen Niabari's name in a restream, you've seen Niabari's name in a restream. He's one of our most prolific restreamers and just puts in so much effort to making the shows what they are, making the restreams just fantastic. So I'm not gonna lie, when I saw you sign up for Pink Puff League and then sign up for the race and get restreamed, I got this dopey smile on my face just seeing you take part. I was like, oh my god, this is great.
Oh, I figured I was gonna get picked. I'm like, let's get this over with now on something that I hopefully won't embarrass myself, versus like 4 or 6 weeks from now it's like, oh look, it's 2.5 hours and I'm still struggling.
That's the true galaxy brain right there. PK, any other questions, comments, or thoughts for Niabari?
It's fun. I mean, I know you've definitely restreamed my races before, so I like that we get to sort of swap seats. And thank you for letting us sit up here and talk while you're the one doing the running. And if you have any final thoughts, go right on ahead.
Yeah, for those of you who are watching and having fun, please come join that restream team. This is not as difficult as we make it look, because we make it look great. That doesn't mean that it's that difficult. So, and especially now is the best time to come join us, because we've got races like this that it's like, well, if people make mistakes, it's a beginner league with beginners making mistakes, so it's not a big deal.
One of us.
Yes.
And anytime we see another restreamer, Niabari can attest this, Allie can attest this. We love you platonically, but we love you. Come join the side. We have more than cookies. But yeah, and Gigi, it was so fun to see you partake in this, and so fun to watch you race. And I hope we get to see you in more races to come with the Pink Puffs.
I'll continue up with the Pink Puffs, but we'll let other people show off their themselves on restream.
GG's again, Niabari.
All right, take care, everybody.
GG, Nia. And I believe we have a raid target. Thank you for the sub, Zoe. I will let you take it away, but again, Asuka, thank you so much for having me. Thank you for getting all of this set up, getting everyone together, and turning this into just an awesome inaugural run for the Pink Puffs.
Well, I was doing a really good time, not crying or anything, but yeah. Anyway, I will distract myself by saying, before I reveal my raid target, we did have a 14th place finisher with Moleboy. So GG's to Moleboy with a final time of 1 hour, 26 minutes, and 24 seconds. Now, we have a very, very special raid target today. We mentioned that our wonderful night mom Scala Kitty is actually racing today. So we are going to say hi to Scala Kitty as she continues on with her race. But we'll just say right now, no spoils. Scala has the ability to jump through space and time and bop you if you spoil anything. But give Scala all of the love, all of the respect, and wonderful, wonderful thoughts and love. And thank you everyone for showing up and doing something amazing for our Pink Puffs. It's going to be great fun. We get to see a lot of really good, awesome people just grow with Free Enterprise. So again, thank you, LSL, for restreaming, Psychonaut for tracking, wonderful co-commentator PK4787, who's my coach in Free Enterprise, which is kind of why I picked him. Yeah, I'm Oscar424, and I hope y'all had fun with the Pink Puff League. We'll see you again.